custody. Watkins joked he planned to release a statement referring to his crimes as mega lols. In the end, during 2014, Watkins was sentenced to 29 years in prison and 6 years supervised release for his horrendous crimes. His co-conspirators, the mothers of his victims, received sentences of 14 and 17 years. Whilst behind bars, Watkins, showing no remorse, attempted to groom a young mother in 2017. Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from Watch Mojo UK and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about...
For the romantic questions, there's Martin Bashir tonight over what he did to secure his panorama interview with Princess Diana.
Well, space to show your ability. I'm sure that's been echoed by the coaches here today.
Worst thing the BBC has ever done.
No, that is not true. You should spend more time in Russia.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
For this list, we're looking at all the times the Beeb has gotten on the wrong side of public opinion. It might be beloved, but it's not always right. Let us know in the comments if the BBC has ever pissed you off. Number 10. TV licence harassment. Even if you diligently pay your TV licence, you've probably received a snotty letter or email from them trying to catch you out.
Government has frozen the BBC licence fee at £159 for the next 2 years and is considering other ways to fund the corporation.
The simple fact is that if you don't watch BBC shows on demand or live broadcasts, you don't need the licence. To boot, TV licence agents don't have any authority to come into your house when they show up.
I just don't think that we should be forced to the point of we could face prison if we don't pay for it.
Despite this, the BBC still likes to threaten people with fines of up to £1,000 and criminal convictions. You may agree that Britain having the BBC is a good thing, but nobody wants to be harassed, and over the years, support for changing the BBC's funding method has only grown.
Why should I have to face prosecution if I don't pay it?
What you're hearing from...
Number 9. Blue Peter phone-ins.
Check out this little fella. This is our brand new kitten, Cookie. He's only 13 weeks old.
It wasn't the only show caught in this scandal, nor was the BBC the only channel, but there's something to be said about scamming a bunch of kids who don't know any better. Multiple broadcasters were caught out by Ofcom for rigging their phone-in competitions and charging outrageous rates, but Blue Peter got into trouble for faking competitions numerous times. Notably, there was the Socks versus Cookie contest, in which Cookie won the online...
El Neni and Edouard with it. Well, this is the day, his debut forthcoming, and it's going to be fascinating to see what he produces. Stuart, what do you think we should expect to see from him?
Well, he'll certainly add some quality into that midfield area. He's a really good passer
That
of the
was
ball,
wrong.
which will hopefully
Today.
give the front players the service their movement deserves. Let's just hope he settles in quickly.
It'll be a corner.
Say that we're sorry. Yep, we would.
Worse was when they faked in competition the very same...
Who can they pick out? McGinn. A good and fair
Maybe
challenge.
it goes to the Christmas present. Like a Christmas carol, it's going to be quiet.
Has eyes for goal. Oh, and he didn't miss by very much.
Yeah, he adjusted his body so well there. It's a great piece of skill. And it deserves the goal.
He's dead. Yeah, he's definitely... No, he's fine. He's good. Well, no.
So for Aston Villa, just what they wanted. A win last time out against Wolverhampton Wanderers. How do you anticipate it going this time, Stuart?
Well, what a game it was, and they fully deserved their win. It was a very good attacking display from them. Today, I'm expecting a similar outcome because they have that little bit of extra quality. It will be tight, though.
Well, it can be a bit of a hit or a miss when you try to catch the ball in that manner.
Well, it's a difficult skill, and on this occasion, he can't quite pull it off. Just didn't hit it cleanly enough.
But there are mounting questions for the BBC and the journalist Martin
Well, they've decided to make a
over what
change.
he did to secure his panorama interview with.
Ball played nicely. High degree of difficulty to hit it on the volley like that, and it was close.
Well, his skill level is so high. You're absolutely right. That's a great effort on the volley.
Secure his panorama interview with Princess Diana. Welcome to Watch Mojo UK, and today we'll be counting down.
He's going to be proud of that moment. What purity of strike. Caught it absolutely perfectly.
Picks for the 10 worst things the BBC.
Well, let's look at this again. He judges the flight of the ball. He sets himself ready to strike
Ever
it,
done.
and then he
It's not that important anymore either.
No, that no, you should spend more time in Russia.
Before we begin, content every day.
And the action underway again. The onus very much on Palace to find a response now. Jeffrey Schlupp. And the keeper's in trouble. And the degree of difficulty wasn't all that high in terms of the save.
We will be counting down our picks for the 10 worst things.
And on comes the physio.
BBC has ever done.
It's not that important.
So following the stoppage, back underway with a drop ball. Getting close to the keeper.
And today we'll be counting down our
Take
picks.
advantage. Well, quite simply, that is a wasted chance.
10 worst things the
Well, there
BBC
you have it.
has ever
His
done.
chances created, lots of good attack.
Rifled against the post, but back in play. Erling HAALAND. Well, he really
It's not
wants
that important anymore either.
No, that is not
Public
true.
service.
You should spend more time in Russia.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. For this list, we're looking at all the times the Beeb has gotten on the wrong side of public opinion. It might be beloved, but it's not always right. Let us know in the comments if the BBC has ever pissed you off. Number 10. TV licence harassment. Even if you diligently pay your TV licence, you've probably received a snotty letter or email from them trying to catch you out.
Government has frozen the BBC licence fee at £159 for the next 2 years and is considering other ways to fund the corporation.
The simple fact is that if you don't watch BBC shows on demand or live broadcasts, you don't need the licence. To boot, TV licence agents don't have any authority to come into your house when they show up.
But I just don't think that we should be forced to the point of we could face prison if we don't pay for it.
Despite this, the BBC still likes to threaten people with fines of up to £1,000 and criminal convictions. You may agree that Britain having the BBC is a good thing, but nobody wants to be harassed, and over the years, support for changing the BBC's funding method has only grown.
Why should I have to face prosecution if I don't pay it?
What
That
you're
is
hearing,
the
John,
argument.
from
Number 9. Blue Peter phone-ins.
Check out this little fella. This is our brand new kitten, Cookie. He's only 13 weeks old.
It wasn't the only show caught in this scandal, nor was the BBC the only channel, but there was something to be said about scamming a bunch of kids who don't know any better. Multiple broadcasters were caught out by Ofcom for rigging their phone-in competitions and charging outrageous rates, but Blue Peter got into trouble for faking competitions. Brute, TV licensed agents don't have any authority to come into your house when they show up.
I just don't think that we should be forced to the point of we could face prison if we don't pay for it.
Despite this, the BBC still likes to threaten people with fines of up to £1,000 and criminal convictions. You may agree that Britain having the BBC is a good thing, but nobody wants to be harassed, and over the years, support for changing the BBC's funding method has only grown.
Why should I have to face prosecution if I don't pay it?
What
That
you're
is the
hearing, John,
argument.
from
Number 9. Blue Peter phone-ins.
Check out this little fella. This is our brand new kitten, Cookie. He's only 13 weeks old.
It wasn't the only show caught in this scandal, nor was the BBC the only channel, but there was something to be said about scamming a bunch of kids who don't know any better. Multiple broadcasters were caught out by Ofcom for rigging their phone-in competitions.
Well, it really wasn't a great effort, was it?
But Blue Peter got into trouble for faking competitions numerous times. Notably, there was the Socks versus Cookie contest, in which Cookie won
Routine,
the
really.
award, but the name Socks was chosen by producers.
that was wrong, and so today we have to say that we're sorry. Yep, we would.
Worse was when they
Determined
failed
defending.
the phone-in competition the very same year, bringing on a random kid to
Coutinho
pretend
in the middle. And the danger's still on. And there it is! 3 goals in front now. An immense performance.
Number 8, gender pay gap.
We've been creating winners for 20 years.
Well, here it is again, and when you clear the ball, you have to get height and distance on it to give your defence time to readjust. They don't do that,
In
it's a poor
2018,
clearance,
it came
and
out that
suddenly
there
the
was
ball's
a
in the
massive
back of the net.
disparity in the rate male and female employees were paid at the BBC in the first time it published such figures.
Said all on air we're going to get 50-50. We've also said we're going to get rid of the gender pay gap. So that's the gap between all men and women employed at the BBC.
This was the BBC's top stars, with
Well, this
numerous
is
top
threatening to
female
get out of hand.
broadcasters getting
Just
paid
look at the
significantly
scoreline.
less than their male counterparts. The BBC was investigated for the disparities, which happened between
Elneny.
2016 and 2017, and the issue was debated across
Well,
rival
this is far
broadcasters.
from over. We're going to have 5 minutes of stoppage time.
Parity by 2020, all of them.
On average, so how would you compare what women earn compared to what men
Well,
earn?
it was a foul, but good use of advantage by the referee.
However, in subsequent
And the
years,
counter looks
it's
on
become
here,
clear that
options
the
available.
disparity is still present, and, in fact, has gotten
Well,
larger.
they seem to be onto something positive, but it faded away.
That's despite many presenters
Safe pair of
getting
hands,
praises in
did his
response
job.
to the scandal initially.
That's a great question. I think if someone's got exactly the same job and the same
And
experience,
that's the hat-trick! Tearing apart this defence time and again. They simply can't handle
On
him.
the 18th of June 1984, there was a violent clash between striking miners and South Yorkshire police in a small village of Orgreave. More than 100
Well,
people
here it is
were
again,
injured,
and it's all
with
about the
BBC's
pace in
coverage of the
transition.
incident
They're so
implied
quick to
that
get
the
out from the
miners
back,
would be
and then
fined,
what a
and that
finish
the
by
police
Haaland.
response would be
He just seems to have a great
justified.
understanding of where to place himself in the box. That's a brilliant goal.
Involving perjury and the doctoring of statements in the wake of police violence against the miners.
It did this by broadcasting the miners' violence first and the police second, suggesting it was them who started it when really the police were to blame.
We need a full inquiry into Orgreave in the same way as we did the full public inquiry. The only way we can get all
And the
facts on
referee's
it.
whistle, meaning that the first 45 minutes have come and gone here at Villa Park.
Justly shown as violent, and activists have been
Well, we know what Erling HAALAND is capable of, but it's still difficult trying to contain him, as the opposition have found out here.
Well, he's looked unstoppable today. Quick, clever, skillful, and he's taken his goals really well. He's been wonderful to watch.
The Princess of Wales talking candidly about her life as a royal and her marriage to Prince Charles.
Well, there were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded.
It angered Buckingham Palace because Diana wasn't cleared to go ahead with it. But years later, and it angered a lot of other people too. It turned out that journalist Martin Bashir had attained this interview with Diana through fraud by threatening her with false bank statements.
25 years on, Diana's brother Earl Spencer wants an apology.
High degree of difficulty to hit it on the volley like that, and it was close.
Well, his skill level is so high, you're absolutely right.
This all came out in 2020 after an inquiry, which also found Bashir had breached the BBC's editorial standards, and the BBC had to apologise to Diana.
Oh,
So
yes!
one of the
He's going to be proud
worst
of that
chapters in the
moment.
BBC's history.
What purity of strike!
The road reporter who gets one of the world's greatest scoops by means of
Erling
deception.
HAALAND.
Number 5, fake child labour.
Well, he really wants his brace.
Well, he looks so bright today. His movement has been excellent.
They don't have
Corner
work
kick
permits,
forthcoming.
so they can only work illegally.
In 2008, an episode of Panorama called Primark of the Rap aired, showing
And you've got
shocking
to
footage
say,
of child
not the
labour
best of
practices
volleys
on
that
court.
time.
Yeah, it was certainly there to hit, but he just
The
couldn't get the
factories
right
were in
contact.
Bangalore, India, and appeared to show 3 young boys involved in making clothes. However, Primark disputed the findings, though it still fired 3 of its contracts.
Oh,
And
what
it
a
later
goal!
came out that the
A
footage had
tremendous
been
strike!
staged.
The reason that Primark can offer its products at such affordable pricing is because our business model is different from other retailers.
Worse, the
Coutinho
BBC
in the
knew
middle.
the footage was fake before putting it in Panorama, as evidence shows.
And the danger's
The
still on.
broadcaster had to apologise to Primark.
And there it is!
Primark cares about
3
standards
goals
in
in
its
front
supply
now,
chain.
and a
These
mixed
are all laid out in the
performance.
Code of Conduct.
Number 4, transphobic article. The BBC has recently gotten in more and more
Safe pair
trouble
of
with
hands,
trans
did its job.
often refusing to report on protests outside its own offices, and, in 2021, quitting its coalition with LGBT charity Stonewall over disagreements on the BBC's trans coverage.
Turning to be heard, this is Trans Pride marching through central London earlier.
But matters got worse later that same year when an article was published on the BBC claiming that lesbians were being pressured into sex by some trans women. Very quickly, the article was debunked as being wildly inaccurate, quoting a baseless study and featuring an interview with a woman who was, even at the time, a self-admitted predator and bigot.
Hopefully marches like this show people that trans people are just people and we deserve a few more rights in this country.
LGBT charities unanimously agreed that the article was harmful, but the BBC has only responded poorly.
The message here today is the trans community needs to have equal rights.
At 3, Axing BBC.
Away they
In
go again.
2022,
Second half is
it's hoped that
underway
the
here.
BBC's controller Tim Davie was going to be
Well,
axing
the attack
CBBC
finally comes to
and
nothing,
BBC
and the
Four.
keeper has it.
BBC has announced it plans to stop broadcasting CBC channel TV in the future.
The channels will eventually disappear from broadcast and will be moved permanently online.
This might be the perfect counter-attacking opportunity.
As it eventually
Defenders need
reversed
to
its
cover.
notorious decision to shift BBC 3 online.
The changes are
Really
also
good
part of
goalkeeping.
plans to save the country
All in all,
money.
a broken
However,
counter-attack.
The TV channel won't end for at least another 2 years.
But while BBC 3 was always aimed at teens and young adults, CBBC
Plenty of support
very
here.
few children's channels available on Freeview, and without an internet connection. This
There's been
means
so much
it will
speculation in terms of whether the transfer would go ahead, but
Oh, he's through on goal here, Derek.
The BBC blamed competition.
he's going to be proud of that moment. What purity of strike! Caught it absolutely perfectly.
Number 2, BNP on
Well, just
question.
take another look at this.
For a very
He
short
reads the
while,
flight
the British
perfectly,
National
catches
Party,
it so
one of the
swiftly,
largest
and then
political
bang.
parties in the
Not sure if the
country,
keeper was caught off guard. It's a long way out, but what a great
Leader
strike.
of the British National Party is Nick Griffin.
But the BNP was always controversial thanks to its right-wing, fascist roots. If that seems like a bit of an exaggeration, remember that the party was founded by former members of the National Front.
Well, my goodness,
For a while,
it's so
it had a
one-sided.
national parliamentary
5-0 in this match.
That difference, by the way, the fact that the BNP defines itself on race,
Slipshod
which
passing.
distinguishes it from every other political party I can think of.
So it was shocking to see the 21st century iteration
And danger still.
and legitimised by
Well, they can keep possession now.
Really won the First World War,
And giving the ball away.
the Second World War, because we were joined in those wars.
Just a quick reminder, we've got Champions League group stage action for you to look forward to here on EA TV. It's Aston Villa versus Lecce.
Well, that should be a really good game between two entertaining teams in a great stadium.
On prime time television. Number 1, Jimmy Savile. Enabling Jimmy Savile for decades and seemingly ignoring his appalling behaviour until after his death is undoubtedly the worst thing the BBC bosses have done.
Today, a week after the story first hit, the BBC Director General George Entwistle apologised.
Hundreds of people came forward to talk about their experiences.
Oh, surely. He's foiled them on his own.
Horrific crimes.
When did public attitude start to change about Jimmy Savile? You may have said after the ITV documentary last week. You'd be wrong.
Some were even convicted.
And with that, the attack fizzles out.
Various hospitals, with full investigations substantiating the claims put to him. It also took a while for the BBC
And a long way
to
out.
acknowledge what had happened.
Superb block.
In the face of numerous exposés from
Now shot happy here. And that, a piece of goalkeeping you're going to see again and again and again.
The Newsnight, but the Newsnight had decided not to run the story.
It was one of the biggest, most horrendous scandals to ever hit the country, with the BBC at the epicentre.
Do you agree with our picks?
Can he deliver it with accuracy?
From Watch Mojo UK.
Well, when you attempt a bicycle kick, you've got to get it spot on, Stuart.
Well, he just makes the wrong contact, doesn't he? The intent was right, but the end product is way off target.
Just a quick reminder, we have more action from the Premier League coming your way. It's Crystal Palace facing Everton.
The
clearance wasn't decisive.
From the top 20
And a time for...
biggest UK breaking news stories of each year.
Are you a war criminal?
Of course I don't believe that. Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
For this list, we'll be looking at various moments that made us happy, sad,
Well, they've lost the ball.
confused between the years 2000 and 2022. We definitely couldn't fit everything in
Really
this
doing a
video,
fine job
so
of
please let us
protecting
know
the
what
balls.
your
Well,
memories
that's the end of that move for now.
that should definitely make this list. Let's debate in the comments.
And they need to get
2000,
tighter.
Millennium Dawn. The year 2000 was greeted by the catastrophic launch of the Millennium Dawn.
And big in to be put away. There it is. And he could scarcely have had an easier finish.
Hadn't actually received their tickets. Everything that could logistically go wrong on the night did go wrong, including body scanners failing to work. The night also turned sour due to a sudden bomb threat. The next day, and for the year that followed,
Well, just look at the defending here. They've made it so easy for him in the end. That's just not good enough.
In 2005, it was officially rebranded as the O2 Arena. 2001, foot and mouth crisis.
For 6 weeks now, Britain has been gripped by an epidemic of foot and mouth disease.
In 2001, a highly infectious disease was spread among cattle, goats, sheep and pigs. This had a disastrous effect on the rural economy as disease killed more than 6 million cows and sheep. Thousands of small farms were forced to close their doors as they were unable to control the spread. Bobby Waugh was identified as the farmer whose pigs caused the initial outbreak. He failed to notify the authorities, which earned him a 15-year farming ban. In total, the outbreak cost the public sector £3 million, while the private sector lost
That
£5
was so
million.
close to being a great goal.
Businesses that rely on seasonal tourist trade are facing ruin.
2002, royal deaths. In 2002, the UK lost 2 of its royal family members. On the 9th of February, Princess Margaret, Queen Elizabeth II's sister, suffered her 4th and final stroke. She passed away at the age of 71. During her funeral, Queen Elizabeth broke the royal protocol and showed deep sadness over her sister's passing. Just a couple of weeks later, on the 30th of March, the Royal Palace announced the passing of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. She was 101 years and 238 days old. Millions attended her funeral and many other countries commemorated her passing. 2003, invasion of Iraq. The UK's invasion of Iraq was one of the most defining moments when it came to the public's trust in military intelligence and its operations. Prime Minister Tony Blair falsely promised the development of nuclear weapons and top-notch technology after wrongly declaring Iraq as a threat to the national interest. And then the government released the inquiry into the UK's involvement in the war. After reading the report, many suspected that Blair's motives for joining had more to do with the upkeep of the UK's relationship with the US. Thousands of Brits have died as a result of the war, and the public branded Blair a war criminal.
Are you a war criminal?
Of course I don't believe that.
2004, Higher Education Bill.
Parliament that will have control over the future of tuition fees, and I think that ought to give us a fair bit of confidence.
Although tuition fees were already introduced in 1998, the real controversy came when Tony Blair's government decided to triple the maximum fee. This meant that students were expected to pay up to £3,000 per year instead of the previously said £1,000 per year. Bigger universities encouraged the bill to prevent the collapse of their institution and allow them to set their own fees. However, the decision was criticised by the National Union of Students, who pointed out that many students had to start taking up part-time jobs to have enough money, while others faced a lot of debt. 2005, Harry the Nazi. International media had a field day with this story, but it all started with the Sun, who first broke the news in 2005. Prince Harry and Prince William attended the colonial-themed Maud's Cotswold costumes and didn't think much of their chosen gear. William had an animal outfit, but Prince Harry decided on the ultimate distasteful move and dressed up in a Nazi uniform. To make matters worse, this happened just a couple of days before the Holocaust Memorial Day. Harry later apologised for his costume choice and regretted his actions. However, this was only the start of his wild child behaviour that would soon become a worldwide topic of discussion. 2006, the London Whale.
A bottlenose in a bottleneck. A small flotilla of craft surround the whale, which is fast-moving.
To give you a break from the controversial and shocking news, here's a slightly lighter subject. In 2006, Londoners were absolutely stunned when the River Thames hosted an unlikely visitor. A large whale was spotted swimming in the river for the first time since 1930. Hundreds of people watched it make its way through the Thames, with many specialists including missing bully for its health. However, unfortunately, this story doesn't have a happy ending. Sorry guys. Although rescuers tried their best to ensure its safety and nurse it back to health, the whale sadly passed away. 2007, Madeleine McCann disappears. In 2007, the world was focused on finding a small blonde-haired girl who disappeared from her family's holiday apartment in Portugal. Madeleine McCann was 3 years old when she vanished, leaving behind her twin siblings and distraught parents. It's a case that made international news, with sightings reported all over the world. The McCanns, who left their kids in the apartment as they went to dinner with their friends, faced grueling inquiries over their daughter's disappearance. Unfortunately, as of August 2022, Madeleine McCann is yet to be found, and we still have no idea what happened to this poor little girl. 2008, Karen Matthews is arrested.
If anybody's got my daughter, my beautiful princess daughter, please bring her home safe.
A year later, another child disappearance rocked the nation. Shannon Matthews was reported kidnapped after failing to come home from her school trip. More than 200 officers were involved in the investigation, determined to find the missing child.
It's only a case of unthinkable betrayal. It was also a crime which cost millions of pounds in police resources.
After 24 days, Shannon was found alive in an apartment in Fifgate Gardens after the neighbours heard an unknown child's footsteps.
Well, Derek, they were the better team.
The man who kidnapped Shannon later revealed that her mother, Karen Matthews, asked him to take her in order to make money from rewards. She served an 8-year sentence and ended up changing her identity. However, Matthews still insists she's entirely innocent. 2009, recession.
The data published by the Office for National Statistics shows the UK's economy shrank by 0.8% between April and June.
In 2009, the UK entered one of its biggest recessions since the Second World War. It was the result of the previous year's financial crash. It had dreadful effects on the economy, which shrunk by more than 6%. A lot of companies went bust, and the country hit one.
Well, he really wants his brace.
Well, he looks so bright today. His movement has been excellent.
One of its biggest unemployment rates.
The price of wheat has doubled. Energy costs, fuel costs, wage costs have risen.
2.7 million people were desperate to find work, and the unemployment rate reached 8.5%. This hasn't happened since 1995.
That's not good.
It's scandalous. I can't even afford to go out to a pub no more.
It was so bad, it took the UK 5 years to recover and finally return its economy to a stable condition. 2010, general election. The 2010 general election was a turning point for many reasons. Not only did it end Gordon Brown's short reign, but it also marked the first time the voters delivered a hung parliament. No political party had enough seats to claim a majority, but there were a few parties that won their first seats, including the Green Party. The election also marked the rise of the Conservative Party as Labour's leadership began to drop. Although he had no prior governmental experience, David Cameron became the Prime Minister after he managed to charm the parties with his charisma. And that brought a whole new world of problems. 2011, News of the World phone hacking scandal.
It led to door raids, the arrests of journalists, the editors questioned in Parliament.
The British tabloid known as News of the World was involved in a number of phone hacking activities. The standard practice of the tabloid was to hire a private investigator and hack into many people's voicemails, including deceased victims of various crimes. They deleted voice recordings at their will, giving victims' relatives false hope of their loved ones' whereabouts. These included victims such as deceased schoolgirl Millie Dowler, British soldiers, and the 2005 London bombing victims. The investigation resulted in high-profile resignations, including News of the World's director, Eventually, the tabloid ceased operations after 168 years of publication. 2012 Olympics. The 2012 Summer Olympic Games were a big deal, not only because they happened in London. To support the event, the city built the iconic Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park, which hosted almost 11,000 athletes from all over the world. From Usain Bolt's 100-metre gold and Mo Farah's 10K to the Spice Girls reunion, the 2012 Olympics were record-breaking in many ways. Gymnast Gabby Douglas also became the first black woman to win the monumental all-round title, which further launched her into international fame. All in all, the 2012 Olympics were the talk of the town. 2013, same-sex marriage is legalised. 2013 was an important year for the British LGBT plus community as Parliament legalised same-sex marriage in England and Wales. Although the law was announced in 2013, it didn't come into effect until the following year. And when it did, Peter McGrath and David Cabriza were the first same-sex couple that tied the knot just 1 minute after the act was officially valid. One of the biggest topics of the legislation were voting results. Only 127 Conservative MPs voted in favour of the act. The passing of the law made many question whether the Tory party's opinion on gay rights would change under David Cameron. 2014, Scottish independence referendum.
44.6% have voted yes, and 55.4% have voted no.
Should Scotland be an independent country? It's a never-ending debate, but in 2014, 55% of voters won by saying no. It was also 16 and 17-year-olds were allowed to vote in Scotland and have a direct say on what their future will hold. Many advised that Scottish independence would bring a lot of benefits to the public, including better healthcare. Those who were for independence were visibly crushed, and for many, this is still a heated topic to this day. With the rise of Brexit, the discussion surrounding Scottish independence continues, and the First Minister of Scotland proposed another referendum. 2015, Jeremy Clarkson versus the BBC. Top Gear fans were absolutely speechless when the BBC decided to drop Jeremy Clarkson. As it turned out, Clarkson engaged in an unprovoked attack on a member of the Top Gear production team. Reports stated the attack was so bad, Ocean Timon was bleeding and had to go to the hospital.